Okay guys, we're back out here. Let's see how decent we can get this nose lined up and find out what we gotta tweak, bend, or whatever it is. I gotta make sure this isn't pushed in like right here. So I pushed on the car one day and I felt it go back and I pulled it back just like here to here. So we might have to justicate that. But let's see how close we can get it. Before, I had a gap on one side of the back that had to be 5/16, if not bigger. The other side was just about touching, and the fronts didn't line up at all. That's what we were working with when we first started on this, when we first put this hood on. So let's see how much closer we can get it. And I would be happy with flush in the front, two nice gaps going up, and however the back line winds up, winds up. How's that sound? So, and height this way, there's going to be no snubbers on this thing. There's mid ones in the fender, and there's going to be no latch on it. So we're not looking for to see the height of it, like this is hanging down. We're not looking for that. Okay, I just want to work on this lined up and see what we got. Okay guys, I threw two of the nutserts in here, one back there, that's all we need. And I hammered and dolled these. Some of these will push down. Especially this one. I was wondering if Junior left the bolt in there when he first took the fender out. I investigated this rust. Yeah, we're making a patch. These speckles are from the backside. It just like the other side, but not as bad. When he shot the screws in here, he fractured all the shit and the stuff laid in there. So, we'll grind this all down. It's going to be minimal to what we're going to have to do. Like I said, I didn't investigate it totally, but anywhere it's thin, we're going to change it. Am I going to do it with one patch or two? I'm not sure. Not sure, because there is a curve here. And, I don't know. We'll look at that when we get to it. Right now, let's just try and get this lined up so we can see what we got to do next. Got two bolts just touching. I just want to show you guys something. The bottom of the fender isn't bolted on. You can see it's all overhanging. Okay, so none of this is right. This is out. Okay, but when I slide this thing forward, look what happens to the front edge of the fender. See how the front rises, but it rises in an arc. So as I'm pulling on this forward, okay, the front of the fender, the gap's getting tighter. It's hard for maybe you guys to make it out like that, but you can see it like that. There is that. So, just figured I'd show you guys that. Okay guys, we got one hinge in. You can see Junior's going to come back in here and re-sand this whole thing and finish everything off around the column, because it laid outside and we got some flash rust. So he's going to be stripping this whole thing back down, and that's going to be soon. And the cross member isn't the one for the car, as you guys know. It's just holding the wheels on. So we got the red hinge on. Red hinge is mint. Nice and tight like it should be. Okay, how it's going to work out, I don't know. It's still loose. The spring's off it. Whoops. See, still works. Yellow hinges. Right side one is mint. Left side one had that little tweak in there. And what happens is if nobody lubes these hinges, you open the hood and you go to close it, that's when the destruction starts. Now this one, I can't really move. It doesn't look rusted to death, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this thing on the car and I'm going to lube it. This is what I lube stuff on when I'm working on bodywork. Just regular dishwashing detergent, because I'm not going to be spraying oil all over the car. And I'll work it into all the joints, and we could, when I look at the dust on them, when I strip them, it's not going to be a problem. I'll wash them off with water. We'll probably blast these things at Steve's, and that'll be it. So let's get this thing on and put some lube on there. Then we'll work on everything else. Okay guys, we got this roughed in. Now let's go underneath and tighten it. Fun. Don't know what you're looking at, guys. Basically, I just lost the wrench. And that sucks. Oh, I got it. Basically, the hood is tight on this side. I'm just gonna tighten at this point. The hinge to the body. With just a one bolt. And then on the other side, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna snug this bolt down right here. There's a stud. I'm gonna get this one bolt here, and that should rough us in. Okay, guys, valuable lesson. Valuable lesson. This hinge is working right. This one isn't. When it comes down, the front of the hinge does not go down all the way because I think it's right here. Because it lays forward, hits this bolt. So you say to yourself, the hinge is bent. Hinge ain't bent. It doesn't have the spring on it. Because not only does the spring pull it back, but it tweaks it out. Because I could move it over and it went down. I noticed that when I was putting it on. So, before I go any further, let's put the springs on. I was trying to make my life easy and not deal with the springs. Okay, let's get the springs on and see what happens. A little finger pinch in action. Here's the spring. It goes to the low hole. Okay, let's see what we got. This is the original spring to it. So these are from the same set of hinges. So let's see what happens now when I close the hood. So I seen the thing go. Oops, I seen it go. Eat. Okay, putting the springs on made the hood go like this. But I did measure this diagonal, and from here to here is longer. Now I know, like I said, this edge has to be brought back out. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about here to here, as long as the curve is the same. Okay? This one seems right, except a hair bit wide. Okay, so we could shrink this thing down. Okay, what's amazing is I've never had the back gap that even. So what that tells me is that I have this fender out all the way this way. So that means that just tells me I only have this bolt in and this bolt in at this point. That just tells me I have to oblong this hole a little bit. That's life. And probably the other way. When this thing got rubbed, it might be tweaked over. I don't think so, but it might be. It might be. Or the whole hood could move over. But if I could make this gap the same all the way down to that size, and then shrink this to match back there, that'd be the best this hood ever fit on the car. And like I said, there's no latch holding it on right now for height. I just have it sitting to where I think the height is. And we're flush in the front. This had never lined up with the old fender. So, yeah, we're definitely moving forward. Door gap is not right on the side. That I could tell you. That I could tell you. I looked at that before. And I wasn't going to even think about touching it for now. It's okay here. It's a little tight. Then it narrows down here again, just like the other one did. So, I guess I could slide the door back just a tad, but it doesn't seem like that's the problem with this one. Could also do that, tweak the frame. There's a lot of things we could do. We will get it right. I'm just not up to that yet. And you got the same here as I had before, where I had to bring the top of it's the same thing. Where I had to bring the top of the door out to meet it. See, it's perfect here. Fender's too high here, and it's only good right here. And it's too high here, and then when you get past the center, it lined up perfect. So this part of the door is tweakable. So what has to happen is this door has to roll out just a tad. Okay, this has to be tweaked back, and then all this will be right. But we got to get the gap the right way. So this looks like it could move over just a tad too, but it's touching there, and I think that's the way it always was. So I think what's happening is it's going to pivot off that point and going to move the front forward. That's more than an acceptable gap. See, it's hard to look at gaps when they're different colors and when they stand out as silver against another color. So, but okay, let's work on this. Either way, it's going to suck because the fenders are bolted to the car. So the oblong, the holes really suck. If you put a big enough washer on it and make it look factory, you really don't notice it too bad. I know this, if anybody ever looks at Mopars are notorious for the fenders not lining back up to the cowl after they've been redone with its gaps. So instead of this fitting the way it has to be, there's a gap in there like a hood gap to line everything back up down the side of the car. And that's the first thing I look at, or we used to look at when we looked at the Mopars, to know if I got whacked in the nose. So they are unibody, but then again the car wasn't hit that hard, but I don't know. It's just enough to, we're only talking 1/16 of an inch. So, okay, maybe I'll just lean on this fender for a while till it matches. Okay guys, there's one of those speed nuts that's slipping this way, which I pried over. Instead of making this hole bigger, I'm going to make the hole for the speed nut bigger. So the speed nut can move over and take the fender with it. So we don't have this big gaping hole. We already have a big hole that the bolt doesn't quite cover to begin with from the factory. You know what I mean? So let's do that. Okay guys, this is what we wound up with. I don't know how wide it is, nor do I care. The hood has a right at the end of it. I might file that down just a tad, because both of them look like they do it even though they don't touch. So we can take a hair off here, hair off there, we're done with that. No need to add anything, it's minute. Plus, just so you guys know, the chrome comes up to here. Okay, got a universal gap here. Okay, I got a universal gap here. Pay no attention to the front edge of this. Like I said, I pushed on that and pushed it in. But there's no reason to work on that, because if I start to work on it, see how the fender changes? Down over here. So that I will take care of. I don't take care of it this second. And when I do pull it forward, it will line up because everything else lines up with it. Okay. This is rough. This has to go down a hair. The cowl dips different than the fender. That's life. That's the way everyone I've ever seen is. The hood will always sit higher or proud of the cowl. There's nothing you can do. You can't raise up the cowl. It's welded to the car. And obviously this is flush. So you just keep these flush, call it good. But that, I've never had a uniform line in the back. Now this is what I did, and I'm going to tell you what will be done. Okay, the springs are still tingling. Okay, I went in there, I didn't open up the holes on the fender. I opened up the holes on the body. That hole, to be exact, there's no nutsert in that. Okay, every one of these, when I take the car back apart, will be opened up to the next size. Even though this one lines up, that one lines up, and I'm sure the other ones line up. Rambler made two different bolts. One with a small washer, and one with a big washer. My wagon has the big washer one, so somewhere in a bin I got the big washer ones. So I'll be putting the big washer ones up to help cover up these holes, to make it more appealing to the eye. Those holes are not opened up, that's how big they are. But you can see this one line up, the rest line up. So, with that said, like I said, I gotta lift it back up because I don't have no snubbers there. I'm trying to justicate it the best I can. So like I said, it's not being sucked down in the center and being held up on the sides. I'm just laying it there. Obviously it can go a lot lower on both sides. So definitely good. So if it appears weird or crooked when you look at it from the front. Okay, you guys heard that, right? You guys remember the video when the propane thing shot out the fireball next to me? Last year, the year before? I was squatted down right there. It was next to me, and you heard the woof. Oh, I just backed up and tripped this thing, and it shot a fireball up my ass.